Hello, this is Screencast 3 of the Royal Conservatoire Introduction to Vectorworks course. In this one we'll be starting to draw objects. We'll be looking at rectangles, circles and the select tools, all in the basic tool palette here. So spend some time on this. Don't be tempted to skip ahead. This is good foundation, good basics, and understanding how these basic tools work will make later tasks much easier. I've seen people skipping over these, thinking they're too easy, and then getting into a mess later on when things get more complicated. So please don't skip ahead. Spend time. I'm asking you to spend time after these screencasts, watch them a couple of times, play with the tools a few times, really get a handle on what they're doing. It will make a difference later on, I promise you. So the rectangle tool, so we look across here and there's Vectorworks is really quite friendly when you hover across icons. It tells you all sorts of things about them. So the rectangle tool there creates rectangles and rotated rectangles. There are 4 tool modes and the active mode is highlighted in the mode bar. So if I click the rectangle, then look up in the mode bar here, we have the 4 modes that it was talking about there. And again, lots of information. There's a nice little arrow saying corner to corner, nice little icon that shows you the corner to corner mode. And it tells you drag from corner to create a rectangle, use the shift key to draw a square. So that will keep the sides the same length, same ratio, because squares are only special rectangles. And use the shift command or control keys to draw a golden rectangle, which is a certain ratio of side lengths. So we won't worry about that just now. We'll just note corner to corner mode. It's just the first mode, and lots and lots of these tools will have modes. Most, if not all of them do. And when we get into the higher level complicated objects, they've got modes as well. So the mode bar is super important. And again, it tells you all that information, again, all the way along here. So I don't need to hover across. So the same information's here. So it's super friendly. So corner to corner. So all I'm going to do in the middle of my space, you can see 0 there, and there's a 0 on the side as well. So roughly in the middle. Doesn't really matter at the moment. I'm going to click. I'm going to move my cursor in one direction and then click again, and I've drawn a rectangle. So remember to click and then move the mouse and then click again. You don't drag the mouse. Okay, we'll do the other option, which is center to corner mode. So if I want to zoom a little bit, I just I've got a magic mouse here, I think they're called. I can zoom and create a little bit more space. Another top trick as well is if I press and hold the space bar, the icon turns into a little hand, and then I can click and drag and move things around. So that's the hand is there in the basic tool palette, which I can do the same thing. So I can move my object around or move the paper around, the virtual piece of paper if you like. But the space bar is a shortcut. So if I'm on the select tool and I press the space bar, I can move, let go of the space bar, and I'm back to select again, or back to my rectangle tool. So it's a good one. So we'll do the next one, which is center to corner mode. So I click and I go out to the corner. The next one along is midpoint to corner. So I click and it's taking the middle out to the corner there. And the last one is a angled one where you define 3 points. So again, I'm going to click, click, and click to draw the rectangle at a certain angle. Like any big program, there are multiple ways of doing things. I'm going to introduce another tool at the moment that I'll explain later on, but I'm just going to show you that I could draw that rectangle there. Well, that would be the first option, the kind of the corner to corner mode that we did. I could draw that, then I could do the rotate tool. I could pin that corner, define the other corner, and then rotate the rectangle to whatever that angle is, which is exactly the same as that. That one was choosing the rectangle and the correct tool and drawing it at an angle. That one drew it corner to corner and then needed another tool, and you could see 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks in order to do that. Not saying that the end result is exactly the same, but this one was a far more efficient and quicker way to do the same job. Again, this is what I was talking about with spending time getting to know the basics, because lots and lots of the majority of people, if we were drawing a table or a bit of steel deck or decking or a rug or something on stage and you were drawing the plan, people will draw corner to corner and then rotate it to whatever angle it is. Could have done it in one tool if they just knew the basics of the program. We will look at circles as well. So the circles have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options. The last one's pretty complicated. The first two are really the only ones that I use on a day-to-day basis. So the first one is, you can kind of see the icon, but it's radius tool mode, and everyone should know that the radius is the center to the edge. We have the diameter tool, which is edge to edge. So we can practice those. The choices of which one to use will depend on what you need in your drawing. If you needed to place again, let's assume you're doing a stage plan, a round table at a certain point on the stage and you knew where that was, then obviously the center point would make sense, so you could draw it rather than drawing the diameter one and then having to click and move the table into the position. Or it might be a case that there's a table that's hard up against something, so rather than drawing it from the center and trying to click to there, you could draw the edge and it's already touching the edge. There's no right or wrong ways of doing these. I'm just giving you the options. Have a look at the other ones. There's 3 points mode, 3 lines, point and center. So that's quite an interesting one. Click on that, and then you click on the edge to the center, so it's kind of like the radius in reverse. Kind of. The last tool that I've been using, and I realised that I haven't really explained, is the selection tool. So the selection tool, you can see objects kind of glow when I kind of hover my mouse across them, glow orange. The selection tool will allow me to move things around, click and manipulate the objects. If I press shift, I can select multiple objects and click again to deselect. There are options or modes, within the select tool. This disabled interactive scaling mode means that I can click on an object and move it without scaling it or doing anything to it. The scaling mode there, see there's a little blue handle appeared. That means I could click that and manipulate the object. I can still move it if I'm careful and not touch the blue handle. The rectangles have lots of blue handles, so I can move just one edge, move another edge back in, grab the middle, move it. So as long as I don't touch the blue handles, I can move it around. If I've taken the time to draw a piece of staging accurately, then I would probably default. Are you sure you want to change the interactive scaling mode? Again, I can do not allow this. Don't show this dialogue again. So it's not going to bother me again, so it's up to you. If I've taken the time to draw something accurately and then I want to move it around on stage, I'm probably going to want to use the disabled interactive scaling mode so that I don't accidentally try to move that and not pay attention and grab a handle trying to move it down there, and I've just dragged it out rather than moving it. I'd have to be pretty clumsy to do that, but you can see how it could be a problem. Shortcuts are good, so if I'm drawing a rectangle here, just recenter myself, and then I want to go to the selection tool rather than going all the way over. I say all the way over, it's not exactly a long walk, but I can press the X key will is the shortcut for the selection tool, and you can see there's a little X there in brackets after the word selection tool. So that's quite a good one to know. So if you're drawing, you want to go to select and then move and then go back to your drawing again. All these have little shortcuts. The rectangle tool is 4, and if you want to get to know these, it can speed up your drawing quite a lot. But X is quite a good shortcut for the selection tool, and the spacebar is a good shortcut for the moving the page around. Back to the selection tool again, there's a wall insertion mode, don't worry about that, and there's a rectangular marquee, lasso and polygonal marquee as well. They are for selecting multiple objects, so the rectangular one, quite unsurprisingly, if I draw a rectangle I can select a couple of objects. The lasso is another one where I can select objects, you can see by just drawing around them, and there's a polygonal one as well, which is just a different way of, you can draw perimeters around objects to select them. A lot of the time the shift key is your friend. You can select, and then if I've selected one more then I didn't really want this one, I can just click it again and I deselect. So shift tool is probably the most common way of multiple selecting things. So what I want you to do is to go and draw some circles and some squares, select them, deselect them, use the marquee tools to select groups of them, look at the different modes under each one. You can play around with these mad circle ones, and the rectangles are really important as well. So we're only doing circles and rectangles at the moment, and the selection tool, that's 3 tools. It's pretty much basic stuff, but take your time just to get used to them. Don't rush ahead. I'll see you in the next tutorial.